Are you able to mute everybody?
No.
Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Gururatmeti मूर्ति भेद विभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्त देहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परंपराम् ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः Many of you are turned off your videos. If you can afford to turn it on, please do. So it's not fair that you can look at me, but I don't look at you, you know. Simple dharma, right? So I also have prepared for this class. You also can prepare a little bit for this class, you know.
Namaste, Jagumarji. I don't have a good bandwidth to open my video.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You have some of you have legitimate reasons, but others.
It goes into red band if I use the video. So.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Okay. Anybody who has not chanted in a while? Yeah, Sudha and Satish. We'll chant from 30. Mayi sarvani karmani.
Mayi sarvani karmani.
Sanyasya chetasa.
Sanyasyatmatma chetasa.
Nirashir nirmamo bhutva.
निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा
युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम्
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम्
अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः
श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः
मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तः
ये ते तदभ्यसूयन्तः
नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान्
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान्
विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः
विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियार्थेः
रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत्
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत्
तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः
परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः
परधर्मो भयावहः
परधर्मो भयावहः
yeah. So we are studying the chapter on Karma Yoga, and starting from 30 onwards, having summarized some aspects of Karma Yoga, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is praising Karma Yoga, importance of Karma Yoga, and thereby summing up some of these aspects. And the last shloka, 34, is an important shloka. Indriyasya indriyasyathe ragadvesho vyavastitau. So, tayorna vashamagachet. So, he's making a statement of fact here, not an advice. Statement of fact that in every object, everything in this world, I am going to have a like or a dislike. I'm going to love it or I'm going to hate it, or I'm going to be indifferent, or I'm going to be somewhere in between. Somewhere this is going to be there. You cannot stop that. And therefore, if somebody says don't hate this or don't love this, etc., that advice cannot be easily followed by you. Okay, like saying don't be sad. Don't be sad is not an advice to give. It's all right. We might say it's all right, don't be sad, we might say, but don't take that advice cannot be taken literally. It's we are pacifying somebody, don't be sad, but we have to address the fundamental problem. Things will get better, and like that we can say. But don't be sad, etc. If you say don't be sad, means it's not as though I wanted to be sad. Next few minutes I want to be sad because I've been happy all day. So before night, at least I should be sad, right? Variety is the spice of life, they say, right? And so some variety I must have in my emotions. Simply happy means it's very boring, right? Nobody has told me that. But so it's nobody wants to be sad, and yet we become sad. So it's very obvious that sadness does not seek our permission. And so there are certain statements we have to avoid making. And so like that here, likes and dislikes there you are going to have. Question is whether they are binding likes or non-binding likes and dislikes. That is up to us. And so he says, second line, he says, Tayoho vasham na agachet. May you not come under their spell. May you not allow these likes and dislikes to take you for a ride. That is what we saw. And then now he's going to talk about this Swadharma once again. This dharma keeps coming back to us. And Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna. Paradharmat Swanushthitat. So he's saying that this Swadharma is important. What one's dharma is. And in a system like a Vedic lifestyle, some of the script is already given, and there are certain things to do during our life, and depending on the family we are in, depending on our varna, and depending on our ashrama, we do certain things. So that setup, that scheme provides us a basis to do certain things as a part of our life. So especially a Brahmana's lifestyle. So Brahmana, I can use that word here because a Brahmana's lifestyle, I saw a book, small book on what a Brahmana should do. And if when you look at that book, it's so amazing because I used to consider myself as a Brahmin, okay? Because I was born in a Brahmin's family, and they used to be studying the Vedas and things like that. That's why I'm a Brahmin. But then when I saw that book, I was a bit shocked because the amount of rituals that are there to do, and you look at it, and am I supposed to do all this? That was a thought I had 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I saw a book like that. So, so that got me thinking. I said, what's all this about? And so, one has to understand these principles properly. Today, those systems don't exist as much as they were before. So we are not recommending that, etc. But we will have an opportunity to look at that. And so our Swadharma is defined by many of these factors. And ethics, righteousness, sometimes we use those words. And a person can be ethical. Any person in the world can be ethical, can be righteous. It doesn't have to be a Vedic person, doesn't have to be Hindu, obviously. And so we got even atheists who are very ethical people. And this what's his name? He wrote this book, The God Delusion.
Richard Dawkins, I think.
Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins claims that he's an atheist. And if you look at the person's readings and all that, it's hard to imagine that that person is not an honest person. It's hard to imagine, right? So it must be an honest person, must be doing what is to be done. And another person who I read some years ago, 20 years ago or so, Christopher Hitchens. And he writes a book. That book that I first read was about Mother Teresa, theory and practice. Like that, I read a book. Very, very important to know all these things. And then he writes another book. It's called God is Not Great. Okay, God is Not Great, and etc. So very nice book, very good book. And we all should, if you get a chance, you try and read those books. And we need to understand their thinking. How do they think? And you will find that these Western authors have always criticized the Western God. You will always find that. And so I kind of agree with what he says. If the God is what the God is presented by the church, then that God is not great. I agree with Christopher Hitchens, because he's not great. He might be powerful, but he's not great. So these kinds of thoughts are interesting. So the point here is that one can be ethical and still not be religious, etc. These things we know. So Swadharma in our case, of course, involves Ishwara. Karma Yoga involves Ishwara, because the vision is that everything here is Ishwara, and it is our vision is not that Ishwara is sitting somewhere and I must seek his mercy, I must seek his goodwill so that I can be better after death. Okay, this is not the vision for us, and therefore this Karma Yoga attitude is very important. And Karma Phala Data, Ishwara Karma Phala Data, the giver of the results of all actions. And then of course, therefore Ishwararpanabuddhi, my actions are all done in keeping with that order. And yajna sahayajna prajasrishtva purovacha prajapatihi ityadi. So that yajna bhava has to be there in my actions. So that is also part of my dharma, and whatever I do, we have seen that we do with that attitude. And so we've seen that whenever I do something, whenever something is supposed to be done by me and I like to do that, okay, mother has to take care of the child, father has to take care of the child, and mother loves to do it. Hey, this is my duty, I love to do it, however painful it is. It's very painful to wake up in the night, small infant is there and there is no sleep. There's no question of proper sleep and all that. No, but that parent can never say, I had a good 8 hours sleep. Is it possible for a new parent to say that? No, not possible. And so, but they don't complain about it. And then suddenly the father says, no, I don't think we should have any more children. Why? Yeah, I lose sleep if I have children. Something like that. I've not heard that kind of an argument. I don't know. Maybe you all may know better. You're all parents. Many of you are parents. So you can educate me on that. And if somebody says that, that's not a reason for not having children. Okay. There are other reasons for not having children. But so this Swadharma is there. And when I love to do what I'm supposed to do, then there is harmony, there is joy. When I don't like to do what I should not do, then also there is harmony, there is pure joy there. And then in a society also, so that's in the home. Even in a home, there is so much give and take, there is so much symbiosis, there is so much balance there, sharing of duties and so forth is there. And the same thing happens in society. Very critical. Our Rishis have seen that, and every society, every leader of every country has to see that and make sure everybody gets to do what they like to do, at the same time gives the responsibilities to each individual. And that balance is so critical. And even in a home we can see that how it works, and in a society it's even more important for that balance to be maintained. Swamiji gives the example of a soccer game, and we have to say soccer, we can't say football. In India we say football, but you go to America and you say football, they are thinking something else. Okay, so it's not football, it's handball like, because they hold it in the hand, and so soccer. So soccer, people are, it's the action packed game is going on, and the fans are going crazy and they're screaming and they are running with the ball back and forth. And this A team, the goalkeeper is waiting. Goalkeeper is wondering, look, the team is running, and how much running they're doing, how much passing and this and that, and so much action. Even the umpire is running, and here I am sitting doing nothing. Sitting and doing nothing. It's how sad it is. And even the fans are moving around. They're doing this and they're doing that. Even I can't do even that much. I can't even raise my hand. I'm simply sitting here and my team is playing very well. And all the time my team is on the other side. I can't even see them from here properly. Okay. And so this is, I also feel like running. So suddenly the goalkeeper decides, I need to, get some exercise and I need to move. So he starts running. Goalkeeper starts running. Imagine what happens to that game. Okay, that game is not a game. People will be shocked. What are you doing here, my dear? You can't do that. And so that's not possible, because that Swadharma, that person's dharma at that time is to stay put and be alert and be happy. If you are not able to catch the ball, that's great. That means your team is doing really well, and be happy about it. And so like that Swadharma is there. And like this, Swamiji gives another example. He talks about this internal combustion engine, the car. Car, there is an engine and engine parts. There's so many parts in the car that are moving. And the engine is also rotating fast. And there is a bolt. The engine tells the bolt, the bolt that keeps everything together, bolts, and tells the bolt, look at you. You're simply sitting there, doing nothing. Look at me. I'm rotating at 1500 RPM, revolutions per minute. Look at me. I'm the one who's moving the car. What are you doing? What a life you're leading. So then the bolt gets a little shaken up, and yeah, I think you're right. I also should move a little bit. At least some, I should should move a little. Only then there is life. And so the bolt and nut, they try to strike a deal. Come on, let's help each other, and you move a little, I move a little, and then both of them do that. and then slowly they really start moving. Even without their moving, they start moving, and then they wonder what happened. And the system will not work if everybody decides to do what everybody else decides to do. So Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swarashtitat. Don't compare yourself to others. This comparison, don't do. She's earning a lot of money. I'm not earning enough money. So this argument will go nowhere. And the surgeon, ICU surgeon, surgery is going on, and the surgeon is there, and he's all the patient is all made up and ready, and anesthesia, everything is done, and the assistant brings all the instruments. The surgery instruments are very interesting instruments, and I've seen some surgeries on YouTube. They don't think I'm sitting next to a doctor and shadowing a doctor. No, I'm not done all that. So these days you just go to YouTube and then you type something and then you can see everything. And so occasionally I do that. Or just for a couple of times I did that. So they have all these instruments. They look like scissors, but then their scissors are curved at the end. And then some other things that they used to cut and then snip and then this and that. They have very, very, very instruments, you can imagine. So this lady brings all these instruments and then gives it to him, and then keeps giving him. And then he uses it and then puts it back in another thing. He uses it, puts it. And the lady says, what? I have so many instruments in my hand and I got to do something with it. I'm simply standing here with this plate, And then she decides to start using those instruments. Then that's going to create havoc. And doctor says, what are you doing? No, I'm also using these instruments. No, you're not supposed to use the instruments. Your role is to bring me the instrument. That's all. This is what your duty is. If you want to use the instruments, that's good. And there is a separate course on surgery that you must take, and then you are welcome to become a surgeon, etc. Then you can use all these instruments. But or if I ask you to do this, use that instrument in this part of the body, then you can do that. But unilaterally you can't do all these things. So like this Swadharma, everybody's Swadharma is very, very interesting. Any situation you are put in, you immediately know what is your Swadharma. Correct? Correct. Suppose you go to the school, your children are studying in school, and they're all small kids, and you go and you wanted to meet the teacher, etc., and the teacher is gone somewhere, and suddenly you find that some kids who start running outside the school. What will you do? What will you do? And it's a main road also. And what will you do? So Swadharma, it has to kick in, right? Then you say, oh my God, this is not right. Now I have to do something. No, I'll wait for these people to come. No, there may not be time to wait. You got to act. Swadharma kicks in. And so like that, like that, the Swadharma becomes clear to us in any situation. Sometimes we may have to do what we are not used to doing also. That also is part of that Swadharma. And so this thing, the profession is where finally, all of us end up in, and we do jobs and we change jobs and things like that. And a lot of stress oftentimes happens. And it's easy to say. Last time Vijay brought up, do what you like. He said that in the satsang, do what you like. Do what you like. It seems to be easier said than done. Is it not true? It's easy to say, do what you like. What is this? Do what, if everybody is doing what they like, then they should all be happy in their jobs and everything should be great. Everything is not great. So it's not that easy, and we have to be careful when we say that statement. And what we generally say is, especially children getting into finishing college and starting their careers, the counselor's role is very important, I feel. And teacher's role also. The teacher should make children understand what a career is and what is the things that they can do, what is the purpose of life. So there was a alumni get together with their school, high school, and the school that they studied. And so all the school teachers were there in that gathering, and alumni gathered, and there was a talk. And the principal stood up, principal of the school at that time stood up and welcomed everybody and said a lot of things. And then he said, these days everybody wants to become a doctor, engineer. They want to become a information technology specialist, this and that, but nobody wants to be a teacher. That's pretty sad. Like that, he made a case, and he was talking. And these other people sitting in there, they were wondering what he was saying. And then one person got up. He's a CEO of a big company, and he got up. There is a problem. I'll tell you why students don't become teachers. Why we don't become teachers. The problem is that, let me tell you the problem by asking you a question. So he looked at, Miss Chitra, because I had a teacher called Chitra, teacher. And so, Miss Chitra, let's be honest, what do you make? And she was a bit shocked that he would point at her, and then she kept quiet. Okay, Mr. Sheshadri, what do you make? You're a mathematics teacher. He taught me math, so I'm using his name here. And what do you make? Mr. Sheshadri did not say anything. And then again, he pointed to two more people. And then he said, Mr. Subbarao, what do you make? And Subbarao got up. Mr. Subbarao got up and said, I'll tell you what I make. I make children think about what they studied at the end of the day. I make children apologize for their mistakes and mean it. Okay. I make children understand that the world is full of opportunities. I make children understand that there is really no reason to be depressed for any reason. I make children understand that they should always seek out for help from anybody should they feel that they are lonely or they are depressed. That's the kind of, that's what I make. That's what I make. Okay. I make children. You want to know what else I make? I make children understand that they must share what they have with others who don't have it. I make children work hard, and I make children understand that the type of job, the profession they do is not important. How they do their job is even more important than the profession. This is what I make. Mr. CEO, what do you make? Okay. That was his response. So, you see what a revolution in thinking is needed. And so this trying to compare and trying to make more and being carried away, not that we should not make money, etc. We should make whatever money we want, and nothing wrong with that. But I'm talking about the attitude behind that. That attitude is what we are questioning. And so that so it's nice when we meet people and somebody says, I quit everything and I'm doing organic farming. Where is organic farming and where is information technology? Is there a connection? And no, that person sees a connection. That's the beauty of it. That person likes to do farming because the parents were farmers, and this guy is a good IT person, and yet he wants to do organic farming. And so when you see that, you wonder, wow, what kind of a life that must be. How joyfully, look at that person, the whatever work comes out of that person is going to be a product of joy, correct? And so it's going to help people. He's happy, other people are happy, everybody is happy. And so it's wonderful to see these examples are all, I'm just quoting because I see them in my life. And I'm reminded of our own Shastram. Bhagavan Krishna says, Paradharmat Anushtitat Swadharma Shreyan Swadharmaha Viguna. Means compared to anything you do, even if you do something well, that is really not close to your heart. Somebody else's duty, somebody else's profession, however good you are at it, whatever I am supposed to do in my situation, do it, even if you're not that good at it. See, this being good is a very, you have to carefully interpret it, because I may like to do something, but I may not be good at it. It's possible, right? I may like to sing, but I may not be good at singing. So I have to learn, etc. And so, or any job I do, okay, I like to do that job. But the minute I start comparing myself to others, then I have an inferiority complex. So we have to be careful there. And so that's why Krishna probably means that also here. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. That word Vigunaha means even an improperly performed duty. Can you believe that? What he's saying? Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. And then what is the next line? Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha. If you do somebody else's dharma just because it's going to get you something, then he says Bhayavaha. Such an action will be filled with fear. Filled with fear. And there are people who constantly, what do you call it, run the red light. And red light is there and the traffic is building and people are impatient. and every second, the time runs differently in front of a red light, and why you're wondering when every second you're counting, and then red light, and then it's about to become green. This is when you should see what happens, psychology. And in India, somebody takes off. Hey, wait a minute. And then the second person looks around and then takes off. Then 3 more people take off. It's still red, okay? It's still red. And in America, this will not work. That's why I love America. Certain things we have to learn from America. America, this will not work. This will not work. It doesn't matter which city, which village, which town, which road, empty road, full road. It doesn't matter. They will not move. Period. And so look at that. Then another person looks around. Why looking around? Because bhaya vahaha. The fear is there. Okay, fear. Because I want to do something that I am not supposed to do. Therefore, fear. Bhaya vahaha. So, very interesting it is. So, therefore, Swadharma is very important. And I don't know how many of you know this. The Kumbh Mela was conducted a couple of years ago. Every 12 years it happens. And lakhs and lakhs of people come there. Millions of people come there. And it's been going on for ages. And suddenly in a place, if so many people come, you're going to have problems. Traffic problems are going to be there. Sanitation problems are going to be there. Every problem you can think of will be there. But it still happens. So our government decided this time we are going to do something different. We are going to give some good accommodation for everybody. And tents, everything set up, all streets marked, areas, everything. And so a open ground set up into a place where you can actually go and you can stay for a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever, it doesn't matter. And sanitation for so many people, and everything set up properly, and sanitation workers. And what Modi did is he went there and he had 4 sanitation workers in a tent, one of those tents, and he washed their feet. Okay, can you believe this? Only in India you can see this. No other culture, no other country you can see this. And just it's symbolic move, but at the same time, for a prime minister of a country to do this means he's sending a very strong message that your duty is important and you're doing it, even though you are working with sanitation, and that sanitation is so important. You have to do, and without you, people cannot live properly. So your role is also very important. So that's that Swadharma that is there, and we have to acknowledge that. And also, this, I brought up this thing earlier, that Brahmana, the duty of a Brahmana, Varna Dharma, so important it is. At least let's understand the spirit behind it. And the duty, so Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay, that is the 4 Varnas. And based on the duties that each has to perform. So Brahmana responsible for knowledge, spiritual knowledge and religion, and officiating rituals and so forth. That is the duty of this Brahmana. And Kshatriya, administration, security, etc., public service. And then Vaishya, commerce, business, and bringing goods to people who need them, and manufacturing, all that, Vaishya. And then Shudra, human resources, Shudra. Okay. Now, if you carefully look at this, the Brahmana Brahma janati iti brahmana. That is the literal definition. We've seen that before. Person who pursues the fundamental of this entire universe. What is all this about, and what is Brahma? That person is a Brahmana. And okay, so that person, there are a lot of duties, and that person studies the Vedas, that person teaches the Vedas, and that's his role. And then you've got a Kshatriya, then you've got a Vaishya. And Kshatriya has land, the Kshatriya protects the land, protects people. And then Vaishya is commerce, business. The Brahmana, the system was set up in such a way, the Brahmana cannot go after money. Whatever money he or she wants, the society will provide him. Look at the way the system was. No salary, nothing. And whatever dakshina you get, you keep. That's it. And even today there are families like that. And then here, the Vaishya can make any amount of money, no problem. Because money, it's no rule that you cannot make money. And you make money, you provide services, you make money in a dharmic way, righteously, no problem. And the knowledge keeper and the money keeper are separate. They're two different people. Understand that. Knowledge and money. If knowledge and money come together, what will happen? I used to think, what will happen? Knowledge and money come together. Nothing should happen. What should happen? So I was thinking like this. You think about it, okay? A company, think of a company, big, large company that has many departments. And one of the departments is research. Research is knowledge, discovering, uncovering, inventing. That's what research is. And that's a knowledge department. But the knowledge department is under the umbrella of the money department. Treasury. The company is made to make profits, not simply to teach Vedas and all that. Nobody starts a company to do that. And so, if those two come together, then the potential for abuse is high. Potential for abuse. I'm not saying companies abuse, but potential for abuse is high. All these ideas, trying to push coconut oil, demonize coconut oil. Demonize. Okay. Where I have knowledge, and then bring some other people in the team, in the room, and then say, let's plan this out. Let's plan it out. And so they do this. All these things are possible. And so now you look up the 10 companies that control everything you buy. Okay, Google that and see what you find. You will find this. You will find Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Nestle, General Mills, Kellogg, and few other companies, Mars, etc. Companies we may not have heard of. Unilever. These companies control everything you buy. And I don't know, what about this soap? That soap is taken away. Already sold to one company. Okay. You are thinking some company makes it. That some company is a part of another company, which is a part of another company, which is a part of Unilever. Okay. That's how it works. And so it's all completely taken over. No, I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm not making any judgment of that. But you can see how that the psychology is used. How can Coke sell the Coke if they have not studied psychology? They've studied everything. The marketing department knows all about human psychology. But psychology used for a different purpose, used for conditioning people's minds. Correct? Can anybody agree with this, right or not? I'm not commenting on any department or any field or anything like that. But you think about it. You think about it. And using a particular knowledge in order to confuse a person, in order to condition a person to do something else. That's wrong. That's wrong use of knowledge. Knowledge is supposed to be emancipating. It's supposed to free us, we say. But there, they say knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Patent it, protect it, sell it. So different mindset. So we need to think about all these things. And I'm glad we have Bhagavad Gita here and we have Krishna, who challenges us constantly. So, so that's why they say knowledge should always go with humility. They should go together. Strength, power should always go with gentleness. Like that. Honesty should go with assertiveness. Because honesty can be taken advantage of. So one has to be assertive for that honesty to work properly. Otherwise, honesty can be taken advantage of by somebody else. So all these things are important. So if the aim is moksha, then Swadharma is very easy to follow. Because my goal is not to make a certain amount of money. My goal is not to compete against somebody and prove that I am somehow greater. Those are all not our goals. And so when moksha is in view, then everything else falls in place. Everything falls in place. And this, in our culture, our society, this Vedic family is a very important unit. Vedic family. You go to Veda Pathashala, and there are Vedic families, people whose whole life is spent around Vedas, learning, teaching, learning, teaching, learning, teaching. And there are children who also learn, who also learn, who also learn, and finally they also teach. And they go join temples, they serve in temples, they serve our homes, and who officiate rituals and so forth. So that Vedic family is a crucible, it's a cradle of our civilization. That's why we support our Veda Pathashalas. One of the things our trust does is support Veda Pathashalas. If the Veda Pathashala becomes extinct, we can be sure that after some decades, our culture will become extinct and our temples will become museum pieces. Museum pieces. Why? Because they look great and our ancestors built these buildings. They become buildings now. They are no longer temples. They become buildings. So we have to be careful. We need to, that family, I was thinking of this yesterday also, that family, that is so important for us to protect that family. Today it's a struggle. We are discussing these topics, and we are going to do something next. Many people are doing it, and we are planning to conduct a small conference to bring together these Veda Pathashala people and tell us about their problems, the challenges that they are facing. They want children. Money is there, children are not there. Children are there, money is not there. Money is there, corruption is there. Corruption means the state just pulls away all the money out of these people. So like this, a lot of problems. And the other day, since our trust supported some families who got this corona, who suffered from corona. And so I was telling them, hey, what about health insurance? It's time you people started thinking about health insurance. There is no rule that says these Veda Pathashalas, families, they should not have health insurance. What is it? They must have it. And so I'd rather we pay your health insurance than pay your bills, which runs into lakhs and lakhs of rupees. So we got to think all these things, and we have to help our society think differently a little bit and do what is to be done. And so Swadharma. So we have to constantly ask ourselves, what is my Swadharma at any given time? And so I just wanted to share that in the topic of Swadharma. And so this dharma being there, our society, this Vedic society is a dharma-based society, duty-based society. And duty versus rights. Western societies are all rights-based societies. And but it doesn't mean that whenever rights are there, duties must be specified, responsibilities will be specified. And here, most of the time, duties are done. And so one's duties will become the rights of the other person. So we've seen these things before. And so that awareness is important, and doing our duty to our family, to our community, to our society has always been there in all native traditions, and it's there everywhere. In every society it is there, and here we formalize it in our shastram itself. And yajna, I look at the entire cosmos and see my role, and if I don't do my duty, then of course there are repercussions, and some repercussions we can see in our own life, drishtaphalam. Some are adrishta which come later, and some people say pandemic is a result of what. And be nice to see many theories are proposed, and it would be nice to see what are the factors that cause something like this. Could it have been preventable? Could some things at least have been preventable? These questions we have to ask, because the answers to those questions will tell us what are the behaviors, if any, we are doing now which are detrimental to humanity. Correct? We have to ask the question, and I don't know who is doing that. I'm sure somebody is researching this, and some papers would be published, and from that, can governments understand? Can governments learn something and implement something? Those things. I'm very interested in that. So anyway, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Anushtita Swanushtitat. Anushtitat means practiced. Swanushtitat means practiced by oneself, by somebody else. Paradharmat. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. So, okay. One's own imperfectly performed dharma, vigunaha swadharma. Vigunaha swadharma. One's own imperfectly performed dharma is better. Shreyan means better. Shreyan. So Shreyan, Shreyas Pratipadikam. Shreyas becomes Shreyas, Shreyaha, Shreyas, Shreyasi, or Shreyasau, I think. And then Shreyasaha. And then what? And then Shreyaha, Shreyasi, Shreyan. That's how it works, I think. Anyway, so better. Okay, one's own imperfectly performed dharma is better than the well-performed dharma of another. Paradharmat swanushthitat. So paradharmat is the noun and swanushthitat would be the adjective for that noun. Okay, full stop. Death in one's own dharma is better. Full stop. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha. Shreyaha means better. Shreya has many meanings. One of the things is better. And another meaning, of course, is moksha. And another meaning is a lifestyle conducive to attaining moksha. Okay, all these are meanings of Shreyas based on context. Okay, death in one's own dharma is better. Full stop. The dharma of another is fraught with fear. The dharma of another is fraught with fear. Paradharmaha bhayavaha. Better is one's own imperfectly performed dharma is better than the well performed dharma of another. Full stop. Death in one's own dharma is better. Full stop. The dharma of another is fraught with fear. Means filled with fear. Or is ripe to cause fear. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. So we are not here trying to say that this Varna Dharma is the most superior system, etc. We are just saying that this system was there and we want to understand the principles behind the system. In fact, I always say that the prosperous India became a weak India. Why? If somebody asks, so many reasons are given. They say British, they say Muslim invasions, this, that. So many reasons are given. But one reason is the Brahmins gave up their Swadharma. That's the reason I give. That's important. Because that shows the importance of that Brahmana Dharma. If the Brahman gives up his duty, her duty, then it's only a matter of time before the Kshatriya gives up their duty, because they are looking up to the Brahmana. And Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. And then therefore, then the whole system falls apart. So the Brahmana, in one way of saying it is, what about how can India become great? So we say make in India and all this, Bena Bharat Mahan. Hey, one way to do it is if all Brahmanas go back and do their dharma, then India will become great. Just a different way of saying it. And so that is happening, and that will happen also. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.